There must be lights burning brighter somewhere. Got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue.
Good morning. Welcome to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I'm your host, Steve Copeland, and thank you for tuning in. Let's have a great day. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I am, and it's good to be with you again. The last couple of weeks, we've had some just absolutely wonderful shows. Richard Kay a couple of weeks ago with his personal testimony on incarceration and the effect on families was, as I said last week, it was just absolutely emotional for me. It was just so powerful. I encourage all of you to make sure you listen to that show. I think that show will always be one of the standards of Right Thinking Foundations to direct people to listen to give them the hope that I'm trying to give them, that no matter what you've gone through, you can come through it because the Lord can take you to places that you can't even hardly imagine once you understand that. Last week, Thomas McCrae was on, and Thomas, thank you so much for being on the show last week. I just loved having you on the show. I've gotten so many powerful responses of people that just thought you were amazing, that your attitude is just so beautiful, and that we just thank you. And another show that is going to be a standard for Right Thinking Foundation. What I'm trying to do with Right Thinking Foundation is be able to get the message out to, I say when I deliver it in prisons all over the country, it's a message of love, encouragement, hope, and providing tools that will help people have a better life. Well, the tools are basically financial literacy, financial education, teaching people how to handle their money. My small contribution to the world is that if I can help you reduce your financial stress in life, you'll be better prepared to deal with those unexpected things that are going to come at you, the storms of life that are coming at you. Speaking of storms of life, Jeff Heiser, and Jeff, last week, Thomas and I, we both said thank you to you for connecting us, and we wish you just the most wonderful success and the new direction that you're taking. As you listeners know by now, Jeff Heiser sold Talk Network Radio to Chuck Christie in Norfolk, Virginia, and Jeff is going to be doing a lot of speaking engagements and traveling around and inspiring and motivating people all over the country. And I thank Jeff for giving me my start in radio. And Jeff and I are going to stay together. I've asked, can I introduce him once or twice as he goes around and does his speaking engagements, and I think that we'll probably do some of that. But what I want to say is that Jeff has a whole new approach to what he's doing with his organization. He's got a website that is Jeffrey Heiser. My middle name's Jeffrey, and he spells it the correct way, JeffreyHeiser.com, JeffreyHeiser.com. So that's where Jeff has everything. And the Connect 10 magazine that he's had for about a year now, he gives me a chance to write articles for it. And in the October-November article, it was combined because he was caught in the hurricane down there, Irma, and he had to evacuate and go to Arkansas out of Florida for 5 days, and it was just a lot of hardship on everybody down there, including Jeff. And so this Connect 10 issue that came out is a combined issue for October and November. You can find it if you go to jeffreyheiser.com. You can find Connect 10, and the article that I wrote for it, it's the whole issue is dedicated to storms and hurricanes and things that people have gone through when they go through some of these tragic storms and hurricanes in the aftermath of Irma and Harvey and Maria. Well, the issue that we did not end up putting out, my article was going to be on communities. So the article that I ended up writing for the November issue that's out for about a week or two now is The Storms of Life. And I'd like you to read that if you get a chance. And basically it's talking about community and how we all need to come to community. and help one another all the time, and not just when we're going through these terrible periods of hardship. That's kind of my lead-in for the show today, is to say thank you again, Jeff, and I want everybody to go to jeffreyheiser.com and follow his work that he's doing and called I Think Differently. So bless you on that, Jeff. So today's show is titled Recidivism, We Can Win the Fight. And I say tune in and hear Steve talk about how we reduce recidivism, how we can reduce recidivism by helping returning citizens to create their own local support network. So what I'm getting at here is we've got some real issues in our society. We've got 2.1 to 4 million people that are incarcerated. 96% of them are going to be getting out eventually. And when they come back out into society, 70% of them, a national statistic, recidivate. That means that they come out and they can't make it. They come out, they commit a crime, they get arrested, they can get convicted, and they go back in. That is a national epidemic. It is just shameful that we as a nation haven't figured out how to do better than that. And, granted, there's some people that are very, very too far into something bad that makes it very hard to help them change. But what we're talking about here is change. People that need to change so that they can have a better life. And let me just say this. Not sometimes. I've been doing this for going on, so it's about 6 years now. And one thing I've learned is it's kind of sad. It's kind of difficult. Many people, they don't want to be involved in this problem. And they just, when I start talking about how I'm helping returning citizens, people that are getting out of prisons, it's almost like a deaf ear that gets turned on to me here. And the reason is people are afraid, period. People are afraid. People don't want to deal with this sometimes. And this problem of recidivism, when I'm in prison sometimes, I say it just like I'm going to say it right now. There's a reason. I'd say this to the groups that I'm doing my seminars with. I say there's a reason why people are afraid of you. It's because 2 out of 3, 70% of you, once you get out, are going to end up committing another crime and going back in. And people don't want to be around that and have a risk that maybe when something goes on in your life where you just trip out and can't deal with it anymore and commit that crime, they don't want to be around that. They don't want to have you work for them and have you go through that while you're working for them. They don't want it to happen on their watch. Well, another thing, though, is that the people that are afraid of that, it might not ever have happened, and the person might not have, what I call it, tripped out, recidivated, gone into doing something illegal and wrong, if they had been brought back into society. So in a different way. I want to talk about that very point right now for a minute. By the way, the advice that I give everybody when I'm speaking to the point that, you might be out there trying to get a job if you've been in prison and people are shutting their doors on you and they don't want to be dealing with you. Well, here's what I say. Here's my approach. If somebody doesn't want to hire you, don't be angry. Just say thank you for the opportunity. Excuse yourself. Pray for them and go on to the next. And I say it might take 37 rejections before that 38th door that you've gone into, the person says, I never thought I wanted to hire a felon, but there's something about you that's touching my heart. I want to give you an opportunity. And then when you get that opportunity, take it. Be the world's greatest employee there ever was. Do good. Thank them for that opportunity. Yeah, what I'm getting at is that it's a two-way street. So I wanted to find in my title today, we can win the fight. Recidivism, we can win the fight. Who is we? It's not just the returning citizens that are coming out that need to do good and straighten out their lives and so forth. It's also society, those that they're coming out back into, if they are not received and brought back into society, then of course they're going to recidivate. I tell everybody in prison, hey, there's a very, very true fact of life that I understand. If you've got a baby that's hungry, you're going to find a way to feed your baby. And so, that's just basic human instinct. You're not going to watch your baby not eat if you're not working and you don't have any income. So what do we do about all this? I've given you some of the statistics on recidivism, but the one that I want to give you that's the most alarming, I've told you that 70% of people that are incarcerated are going to fail in their reemergence, and they're going to go back in. Well, here's the worst statistic that I want to give you. 85% of children with parents that have been incarcerated are or have been, they're going to probably be incarcerated in their lifetime. I want to just pause on that for just a moment, because it is absolutely, it's horrible. It's horrible. Only 15 out of 100 children whose parents have experienced incarceration will not follow in their parents' footsteps. So what do we do about that? Well, so let's break it down to a couple different parts of we. We've got the returning citizen, a person who's gone into, committed a crime and been incarcerated, that's going to be getting out, that's trying to rebuild their lives. We're talking about society. We're talking about the people that are already on the outside that they're coming back to. Now, and I've already said that we have to receive them in a certain way or they're not going to be able to succeed. So let me just throw this out there at you for a moment. The national budget for the corrections budget throughout this whole country is $98 billion, with a B, billion dollars a year. It is incredibly expensive in terms of dollars. But there's another cost that's not even in that number. It's the victims, the cost, the emotional turmoil that a person is put through when they're a victim of a crime. The emotional part of that, the effect that it has on them for the rest of their lives, the trauma. It's just hard to even calculate that. And so society is having to pick up the bill for housing people when they're incarcerated. But the medical costs, the cost of the property damage, the emotional costs, these all are part of it. So I'm saying this, even if you are a person who has an attitude that a person that is a felon that's been incarcerated did wrong, needs to be punished, and I don't want to help them, lock them up and throw away the key, which is a pretty harsh attitude. Now, there are some people that are really, violent crimes, and it's just very difficult. So I don't want to go there. Some people might not be able to be rehabilitated. They do need to be separated from society. But there are so many. There are so many that if they just were able to come out and be part of community and feel like they're part of something good and that they were loved, they can change for the better, and they need that opportunity. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you're one of those people that don't really want to help the returning citizens because you have this attitude that they did really, really bad, just punish them, well, they're going to get out, and they need to succeed when they get out. So think of it as a self-preservation of your own lifestyle. The less crime that's committed from criminals, I don't like to call them criminals, that's an older word, but the returning citizens, the less crime in our society that's committed, the safer our communities are. So let's just finally do something about this problem. I'm not into politics, but we have not figured out what to do about this problem. It's a hot button in politics right now.